Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at another wand. I'm going on a wand kick, so expect a couple wands for the next couple videos because I want to get them all out of the way. I've already done quite a few of the other wands like Death's Web and some of the more popular wands like Arm of King Leoric. But we're going to be going over all the wands, as I always let you guys know. We're doing every single unique item in the game, because why not? Now this is the Maelstrom U wand, and the Maelstrom U wand is a very specific sort of an idea. Obviously, the Maelstrom is referring to a storm, and the storm has things like lightning damage, it has like lightning resistance, and whether it lives up to its name as a Maelstrom, we'll see. So right off the bat there, you'll notice that it doesn't have any enhanced damage, and the damage is relatively low at 2 to 8. Like most wands, you do not use these wands as weapons. Maybe at a very low level, you could thwack a couple things, but very quickly, as you get into Act 2 and Act 3, you will notice that they're not really going to help you out very much. Also, this item is level 14, which is right at the point when you get to Act 2, and right at the point where you really can't thwack anything. We also have 30% faster cast rate on this, which is very, very nice. There are not a lot of really low-level items that have high percentages of faster cast, and because of this, this actually becomes a good choice for a lot of characters, including sorceresses, druids who might want to cast faster with their fire spells, necromancers who want to cast faster with bone spear or bone spirit or whatever it is that they're doing. Low-level characters, especially solo self-found characters or beginning ladder characters, can get really good use out of a Maelstrom U wand early on just for that 30% faster cast. We also have 1 to 9 lightning damage, which could come in handy if you find yourself in a thwacking situation. And then we have a whole bunch of plus skills. Now, these all vary. Let me preface this by saying every single one of these vary from 1 to 3. So there's probably no chance you're ever going to see this particular variant of the wand, which is plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. It's probably going to look more like plus 3, plus 2, plus 1, plus 3, or something like that, and it's gonna vary down back and forth. We get plus 3 Terror, which Terror is a Necromancer curse. The Necromancer curse Terror allows you to make monsters run away. Now, I'm not really sure you would want to make the monsters run away. I mean, it could come in handy from a tactical scenario if you were, in trouble. But for the most part, I usually don't see a lot of people using the Terror curse. Then we also have plus 3 Iron Maiden, which Iron Maiden actually can be extremely useful at lower levels. Thorns, even though it does get pretty terrible toward Nightmare and definitely terrible in Hell difficulty, Iron Maiden is definitely useful in normal. In fact, Iron Maiden is probably broken overpowered in normal difficulty because I've literally seen it murder monsters with the ease. There's balancing issues with Thorns and Iron Maiden, and in general, you will find that Iron Maiden has its most usefulness in normal difficulty. And having plus 3 on a wand, so you don't actually have to sink any points into it, is certainly nice. You can also stack Iron Maiden along with something else, like a clay golem or something like that, which could be useful. Then we also have plus 3 Corpse Explosion, which is pretty amazing. Corpse Explosion is a very nice Necromancer skill, and the higher the level of the skill, the bigger the radius and the more monsters it hits with a single use. And the more monsters it hits with a single use, trust me, the more damage it does, and the less you have to cast it because, well, you're dishing out more damage to more targets. Amplify damage is also on here with plus 3, which means that you effectively have a very nice Corpse Explosion wand. So in early level, plus 3 Corpse Explosion wand, which is going to be better than just about any other plus 1 wand you're going to be able to put on at this level. Plus 3 Corpse Explosion and plus 3 Amplify damage is probably the real meat and potatoes of this wand, because quite honestly, it really makes for a devastating combination. Quite literally, according to the name, the Maelstrom, right? So if you got like amplify damage and exploding corpses and blood and bones flying everywhere, it's kind of the same as a storm, right? We also got plus 13 to mana, which is definitely very nice. At lower levels, as I talked about in my previous video, at lower levels, mana is the main drive of regeneration. So the more mana you have, the more regeneration you have. And the less mana you have, the less regeneration you have. So basically, if you don't have a pretty decent amount of mana, you're going to be in trouble. And an additional +3 mana on this wand, along with the 30% faster cast, is very nice for anybody who puts this wand on, even a sorceress. We also have a massive 40% lightning resistance on this wand, which is absolutely great for any character who would like to have a little bit of extra lightning resistance. I mean, as you can see, I've got 20% lightning resistance right now, and I put the wand on and I go to 60, which is pretty amazing, especially considering this is level 14. And then on top of that, we also have undead damage, 50% undead damage. And you could put a socket in this, but it's probably not something you're going to do. We also could find the Ethereal version, which honestly is exactly the same. You're not going to beat people with this wand, or you shouldn't be anyway. So the ethereal nature of the wand doesn't really matter, except just to have you kind of like a cool-looking wand, an ethereal version. This wand does actually have kind of a cool appearance too, so let's go take a look at it on the character screen. I always like to do that when things have a cool appearance. It's kind of difficult to see because it is, of course, a tiny little wand. Let me see if I can zoom. Let me zoom. As you can see, it's a kind of like a twisted, gnarled piece of root, and obviously it twists around itself into multiple shapes, and then eventually it has some very nice little feathers, I think, hanging off of it. It almost reminds me of some sort of tribal item, right? And let's take a look and see where we could potentially find a Maelstrom U wand if we wanted to. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to Silo's Pen, and we're going to see like the best places to potentially find this if we wanted to look for it. All right, so the last one I was looking at was the Torch of Ero. So the Maelstrom is right here, and we're going to assume about 100% magic find. I feel like that's fair. Let's go to bosses. And ignoring the quest flags. We are looking at normal Diablo, which is a little bit high level for a level 15 item. So let's see if we can find somewhere better. Oh, normal Mephisto. I missed him. So normal Mephisto, 1 in 708. That's still pretty high level monster for a level 14 item. Is there anywhere better? Duriel in normal. 1 in 972 for quest kill. Not a lot of really good boss choices. Let's take a look at the super uniques. Sort by probability. So we've got the Summoner in Arcane Sanctuary. That's closer to level 14 than any of the other monsters we found so far. Fang Skin, Fire Eye, these are all Act 2 monsters. Dark Elder, that's Act 2. Beetle Burst. Those are all good choices if you wanted to try and farm this wand at an early level. In fact, I would recommend Dark Elder and Beetle Burst because they are much easier to get to than any of the others. To get to Fire Eye, you need to have access to Arcane Sanctuary. Although once you have access to Arcane Sanctuary, you can, of course, farm Fire Eye relatively easily because you basically just walk through the Arcane Sanctuary portal, and then you take the portal which brings you to Palace Level 3, and Fire Eye is guarding the portal. So you basically just kill him right there. So Fire Eye is definitely by far the easiest target to farm for this particular item. However, Dark Elder and Beetle Burst are before Arcane Sanctuary and will definitely offer you a better choice for a lower level character who has just started Act 2. I think that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. I don't think there's any better choices than those. These choices right here are probably your best choices. Fire Eye, Dark Elder, and Beetle Burst. I wouldn't even bother with the bosses. I would just farm those 3 over and over again. These wand videos are bound to be short because I'm not upgrading them. This is one of the things about these low-level wands is, or rather just wands in general, is that they generally don't have any kind of enhanced damage on them, and because they don't have any kind of enhanced damage on them, they make very poor upgrade options. If I were to upgrade this, by the way, it would go from 2 to 8 damage of the U wand, which would upgrade to the Petrified Wand, and the Petrified Wand has a total damage of 8 to 24, so not very high, especially since it would bring the level requirement up to around level 30. And then the Ghost Wand would be the final upgrade, which would be 20 to 40 damage. And again, no enhanced damage, so it would just be 20 to 40 at basically like level 65 or something. The wands are not meant to be used as weapons, and that's why you won't really see me upgrade them, because quite honestly, there's no reason to upgrade them, because weapons only upgrade in their damage and their attack speed. Those are the two main things that change when you upgrade a weapon, by the way, is the damage upgrades, and sometimes the attack speed changes because the base of the weapon changes. So like, for instance, a Tulwar, like the Blade of Alibaba, has a very slow attack speed. However, when you upgrade it to the Hydra Edge, the attack speed actually increases because the Hydra Edge is a faster weapon than the Tulwar. I think that's pretty much it. Final thoughts on this particular item. It's a very nice low-level item, and if you had come across it at level 14 on a Sorceress, a Necromancer, a Casting Druid, honestly, even maybe a Hammerden, there's a couple different characters that need faster casts better or more than others, and 30% faster cast on a low-level item like this is absolutely excellent. The 40% lightning resistance is absolutely excellent, and even the 13 mana is great. And definitely one of those items that if you find on a low-level caster, you're probably going to put into your main slot and use. Now, as a Necromancer specifically, the Corpse Explosion and Amplify damage could come in extremely handy to help reduce the number of skill points that you have to put in early on. If you want to get Corpse Explosion early on, you have to put in a point into Teeth, and you have to put a point into Corpse Explosion, which is 2 skill points. At level 14, you don't have very many skill points. You've got 14 skill points total as long as you've done your Akara quest. And they would be better used on things like Raised Skeleton, Skeleton Mastery, your Clay Golem, Golem Mastery, and Summon Resistance. Especially if you're going to try and kill things effectively in normal difficulty. Or if you're a Bone Necromancer, they would be better off spent into Bone Spear. Or if you're a Poison Necromancer, they would be better off put into the Poison skills. So having a wand that will give you free Amplify damage, free Iron Maiden, free Terror, and free Corpse Explosion can come in extremely handy to alleviate skill point burden early on. Skill point burden is basically where you just don't have enough skill points to go around. You would love to build, this skill and this skill and that skill and that skill, but you can't because, well, you're stuck. So having an item like this early on that gives you free skills is excellent. Especially if it's giving you good ones. I mean, Corpse Explosion and Amplify damage are very good skills. And Iron Maiden certainly is no slouch either early on in the game, and can definitely propel you forward in certain situations, like, for instance, when you use your Clay Golem against Diablo, and you cast Iron Maiden on him over and over again to let your Clay Golem whittle away his health. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when it is a Maelstrom. And as always, keep watching.